Good evening. My name is Jack Dearborn. I'm the chairman of the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the town of Weare. This is the September 11th meeting, 2018. And this evening we have, got a list here somewhere. We have the following cases to be heard. The first being case number 0618, variance Article 2551 and 2552, continued from a prior date. William Bovier East Side on Route 114, tax map 109-11 in the industrial zone. And then we also have a case 0918, special exception Article 19110, Donald D. and Diane Belanger, 80 Blake Road, tax map 403-112 for a auxiliary, what's it,
ADU.
Dwelling unit, okay, AKA in-law apartment, and in a residential zone. Case number 1018 is the third case this evening in its variance Article 2552, Romar Assistive Services, East Side Route 114, tax map 109-12, an industrial zone. And the final is a case number 2707, variance extension, Cindy Esmarsky and Rooney, tax map 108-40, 167 Pondview Road, and that is an extension for a variance. Okay, for this evening, what I'm going to do is I will take the special exception first, and the reason is because we have a continued case for part one, and we have a new case for part two. So I'd like to take the special exception first, and we can take both of yours up at the same time. Make sense?
Fine with us.
Very good. Okay. The way this works, and let me kind of go through how we run the business here. The first thing I will do is I will read the application, the front page, so everybody in the room knows what we're talking about, and people at home as well. And then I will, before I do that, let me just explain the top level. We'll take each case individually first. Okay, we hear the case, we accept the application, hear the case, and then we'll deliberate and make a decision tonight. Go to the second, third, and fourth one. So each one is taken complete and we move on. Okay, first what we do in the case like a variance, for instance, I will read the case, the top page, everybody knows why we're here. Then I will ask if there's any questions from the zoning board if they like to bring up regarding the application. If there is none, I'd ask for a motion to accept the case. This is for purposes of making sure that we have all the information we need. If there's an issue, we'll take it up. If we think we need to reject the application or ask the applicant for more information or whatever it is, want to make sure that to the best of our ability before we hear the case, is it appropriately filled out, applied for, I should say. So once we do that, I will ask for a motion, always in the positive, to accept the application. Ask for a second. Any discussion? Being none, or take the exception after discussion. Take the vote. We need 3 votes in the affirmative to move forward. Getting that, then I will ask the board if any further information. I'd ask the applicant to come up. Any questions of the applicant, we'll get them out of the way before we could hear the case. At that point, I will ask the applicant to come forward and read, especially in the variance, read the 5 points of hardship with a question and each answer. So it's in the record. Why is that important? Because we've got a copy of it all up here. People in the room do not, and we want it to be a part of the record. So when you read it in, question each question individually, and then the answer, and then moving on to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. This way here, everybody gets to hear it, whether they're here at home. And by the way, I might add that these microphones are only for the benefit of the people at home or being recorded. These all go on YouTube some point in the future. They do not do anything for anybody in this room. So, somebody gets up, please feel free to speak louder, or I will ask you to speak louder so everybody in the room can hear. Okay, once we hear all the information from the applicant, I will then go down through a very prescribed list. I'll ask for I'll ask the applicant to sit down. I'll ask any people in the audience that wish to speak in support of the application. All being done, I go any people that wish not to speak in or against the application. Then I'll ask public at large and other boards. Once that's done, I'd ask the applicant back up. And if he or she wishes to rebut anything, they have an opportunity at that point. Ask them to sit down after they make their rebuttal. Then I'll go through one more time. Approving abutters, disapproving abutters, public at large, other boards. After that, I will shut down the public hearing, and then we'll take on and deliberate. On a variance, we do each article of the 5 articles separately, because we want to have a motion for each in the affirmative. We get a second, we have discussion, then we vote. And in order to pass, you need to have 3 out of 5 yeses. And we go to number 2, 3, 4, and 5. We take 5 up in its entirety because it's very lengthy. And then you need to get 3 yeses on every one of the 5s. It doesn't have to be the same people, because you need to have at least 3 out of 5. And tonight we have 5 people. Should we not have 5 for a variance, I will ask the applicant if they wish to continue to a date certain, because it's easy to get 3 yeses out of 5 people than it is out of 4 and 3. So we want to make sure that the applicant get the best chance to make their case, be heard, and also get the best chance for being voted yes. Okay, with that being said, and then we will vote this evening, or we will, if we find we need more information, or if the applicant wishes, we can continue the case to a date certain if they need more information. Okay. So that's pretty much how we do it. Special exception tonight is a little different, where you get up and you make your case, read your 7 questions and your answers, and then we will vote on the whole thing at once. We don't vote on them individually. So, special exception is different than a variance. A variance, you must meet the test of all 5 points of hardship, prongs, if you will. Special exception, it's a little different, where you get it by right. If you meet the conditions set forth in the zoning, you get it by right if you meet the conditions. It isn't where we decide whether it's a good idea or not. The question is, did you meet the conditions listed in the, I think this one is 19, right? With that said, why don't we take the first one, is the accessory dwelling unit. Okay. Would you like to come up forward? Whoever wishes to speak on. Let me read this off. Ronald, I can't pronounce your last name, sir.
Belanger.
Belanger, I couldn't even spell it. Okay. 80 Blake Road, Weare, New Hampshire, 03281. Owner, address the same. Property address, location, 80 Blake Road, Weare, New Hampshire. Before we start, this is a private road. Do they have a building permit?
They've been living in the house forever.
Yeah. Let me think for a second. Does this fall under 674-41?
No. If it was an addition that was being added to the house, it would.
Good.
It's
Okay,
not,
he's the code enforcement officer.
no new structure.
Yeah. He happens to be wearing that hat tonight as well, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna tell you to go away. Okay. So it is 80 Blake Road, Weare, New Hampshire, tax map and lot 403. It looks like 112. Property description, 296 frontage. West is 390, east is 335, and the rear is 155, the lines. Finish area in my cellar for use as a in-law apartment in the cellar of my house. Why does your proposed use require a appeal to the zoning board of adjustment to get a building permit and in-law apartment in an existing house, Article 19, Section 1910.1 through 19.1-10, 1 through 7. Okay. Motion to accept the before we do that, did we go through the names of the people?
Mark Moretti, member.
Stu Richmond, member.
Michael Meyer, member.
Gary Shelton, alternate.
And these are the 5 members this evening. Well, the only 5 members, but for this evening, for this case, it was all 5 members be seated for this. Okay. Now, motion to accept case 0918.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. If you want to go through 1 through 7,
Okay.
and if you want to give us a little description ahead of time of what you want to do, and then it's pretty explanatory, but sometimes people have to give us an idea of what they want.
Okay.
You want to take us through your 7 points for the variance? Read the question, please, and your answer, so we can have it in the record.
Okay. The specific site is an appropriate location for such use or uses in terms of overall community development. Yes, the in-law apartment will be constructed in the basement of existing house with no change to the exterior of the building. 2, the proposed use will not adversely affect the neighborhood and shall produce no significant reduction of real estate values in the neighboring area. Yes, the in-law apartment is in the existing house with no changes to the exterior of the structure. The proposed use will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicular traffic or pedestrians. No nuisance or hazard by this
Space?
Okay, that's what it is. Space does not affect the vehicular or pedestrian traffic. The proposed use will not cause an undue burden to the town through the provisions of basic town services. No additional town services are needed. Adequate off-street parking be provided if determined necessary by the zoning board of adjustment. Adequate off-street parking exists and will not be affected by space. A buffer may be required to screen neighboring uses from the proposed use. Buffers may be fences, screens, dense planting, or suitable trees, shrubbery, or natural occurring shrubs and trees. No changes to the property are needed. The area is being constructed in basement. Next.
Will not affect the exterior.
Right, will not affect the exterior. The zoning board of adjustment is in granting any special exemption may include such restrictions or conditions to ensure compliance with this section. We are prepared to comply with the board's request.
Thank you. Please stay
Sure.
there. Would you want to go down, Mike, and just see if he complies with all the conditions of 1 through 7?
As you said, there's 7 conditions to an accessory dwelling unit. The first being, let's see, for a single dwelling, shall not exceed 750 square feet. I see on your plan you have 640 total
Yes.
square feet listed. And not contain more than 2 bedrooms with maximum occupancy per room of not more than 2 persons per bedroom. Looks like you only have 1 bedroom listed.
Yes,
No more than 2 people in that room is what you're planning.
right,
Okay. Accessory dwelling unit shall either be constructed within or attached to the single dwelling. You said it's in the basement, so that's
Yes.
covered. At least 1 interior connecting door or other access for persons to pass between. Looks like you have a stairway going up
yes.
and an exterior door as well.
No,
All right.
yes.
Septic system design capacity shall be approved by the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. Has your septic been reviewed? Will it support the addition?
Yes, well, it's 3 bedrooms, it was 3 bedrooms to begin with, and it's still 3 bedrooms now,
You have 2 upstairs right now?
just 2, yes.
Perfect. No new entrance or exit to the accessory dwelling unit shall be constructed facing the front of the single-family dwelling. That looks like it's on the side to me. Is that exterior entrance to the basement?
The exterior is in front,
It is in front,
yes,
but okay, so
but it's off to the side.
it's not being constructed though.
No,
Okay.
it's already there.
And 2 parking spaces shall be provided for an accessory dwelling unit, and no new curb cut for the street shall be constructed. You have
No, we're all set, we haven't changed anything, or,
exterior construction materials shall be uniform with the single dwelling. You're not adding anything to the outside. You
No.
mentioned that. And either the accessory dwelling unit or principal dwelling unit shall be the principal residence and legal domicile of the owner of the property.
yes,
You live there.
yes,
I think you've met all the conditions.
thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Belanger? I don't see anybody in the room, but I'm gonna run down through anyways. Would you please have a seat in the front over here, because we're gonna ask you to pop back up again. Sure. Thank you. We do that so you're not on deck at this point. Any approving abutters wish to speak? Disapproving abutters wish to speak? Public at large or the board? Welcome to come back up to rebut anything if you need to, or you can stay down if you're all set. Okay. I gotta ask, and I'll again ask, approving abutters, disapproving abutters, people public at large or other boards? Being none. At this point, with no further questions from the board, I'm gonna shut down the public hearing at this point, and I'd ask that we get a motion in the affirmative to accept case number 0918.
Move to approve case 0918.
Thank you.
I'll
Second? Thank you. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I make that 5-0. You got it.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's another day, you can see Chip and he can tell you what you gotta do.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
That's it.
We're done?
You can
sir.
stay all night if you want, but
Thank you.
we don't do any cruel and unusual punishments. Okay, for the next one, what I'd like to do is take these both at the same time. I have to bring Romar, the second one, up to the same level as the continuation of the first one at that point. So with that said, let me go find out where Romar is. Oh. Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
Yep, sorry.
Too many pages. Okay. This is case 1018. Applicant is William Weare. Address is 49 Weare Road, Weare, New Hampshire. Owner of this Romar Assistive Services, 400 South Stark Highway, Weare, New Hampshire, 03281. Tax map and lot is 109/12, industrial. Property description, approximate 5.65 acres shown on submitted plan within. And proposed use, best use, no change to proposed use variance to correct lack of frontage that existed since 1995. And we have with this an application, checklist. We have details on each point of hardship filled out. And we have an Robert Phelps saying that Mr. Weare et al. Can be here to represent him. There is a tax map, looks like a computerized tax map, showing lot 12. There is a map here showing the site plan, and it is from 2000. Looks like it's from 95. Yes. And there's a list of abutters. Any questions about the application? Being none, okay, I will accept. The same board members are here for this case as well. The board, could I get a motion in the affirmative to accept the application 1018?
I will make the request to accept the application.
Right.
For, which one is this now? 1018.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? 5-0. Okay. So now we have this application at the same status as the last application, so let's take these in parallel. The reason we continued in August, or whenever the heck it was, July, I forget when it was. Yes, sir?
I thought I'd just introduce myself really quick.
Let me just give the background to get us
Sure,
up to date.
go ahead.
So we had, I asked that I get an opinion from town council. That's why we continued it. And I asked the applicant, Mr. Arnold at the time, representing the applicant, and he requested that. I asked him if he would do that. He said he would. So that's why we went off. And then in the meantime, this case come about in parallel, sort of a little bit behind, but in parallel. So there's two cases on the table. We will take up the original case of, what was that one? Just so I get it from the previous one, way back.
Question.
I think it was July, actually.
It's listed
Look, listen on where?
on the schedule for this evening.
2 months ago.
Yeah, but I don't have it. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a list. Where's your list of? 6/18. Okay, and that was, I can't tell what it was, but we're taking up both case 6/18 and 10/18 right now. And just for people's memory, 6/18 was 25.51 and 25.52, which relate to frontage and lot size. Okay. Now, since that time, I've not gone just once, but twice down to see Bill and myself, and Chip did. And first time was for the first lot, and the second time we got the second one. I want to make sure we're consistent. Okay. Would you like to get up and introduce yourself at this point?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name's John Sokol. I also work at Hinckley Allen, which is where John Arnold works. I'm pinch hitting tonight. He had a baby and is out on paternity leave. And so it's my understanding that the first, as part of the review process for the first variance application, the board had some questions about the history, ownership, conveyancing, approvals, and that they wanted to consult with town council. And as part of that process, town council, I believe, called Attorney Arnold and suggested that he submit the second variance application, which is for a directly abutting lot to the first.
I'll take your word for that.
And so that's why that application got submitted, because apparently there were questions about where a lot line was and whether there had been a lot merger, and so this was perceived as a way to try to clear up some historic mistakes or irregularities or inadvertent errors. And so that's just sort of the background for the second variance application.
And we went down to see Bill Drescher, whenever it was back in July. And then when we get the second one, I have to go back down again and make sure nothing changed. So I have a sort of a position for the board, which I'm gonna read. Do you have a copy of this?
I do not.
This will be part of the minutes. So let me try and put this out, and this is kind of meant in the first person, I guess, for the board, but I'll just try to make it so that it comes across. Meaning you, the applicant, you applied for 2 variances. Actually, there's 3 now. 2 on the first one, second. This covers Romar as well. Lot size and frontage twice. Okay, on the track depicted in lot 109, tax map 109 and lot 11 and 12, in support of the construction of improvements of the track. And in an attempt to confirm the identity of the lot, now this case lots, we consulted town council, me and myself, and reviewed the relevant town records. We are unable to confirm that lot 109, tax map 109, lot 11, was ever legally subdivided from the 6.5 acres. Okay, let me get all the way through this and I'll try to explain that. Parcel shown on recorded plan 209-559, referred to as the parent tract. Okay, 1995, the town approved a site plan on lot 109, that's really tax map 109, lot 12, submitted relative to the rear portion of the parent tract, which incorrectly represented the town because there was no supporting subdivision. That's his point here. Represented to the town, that was a separate tract when it should have been presented as a parent tract. Second, accordingly, we are concerned that the conveyance of the portion of the parent tract that purports to be part of 109-12, separate from the balance of the parent tract, may be constituted as a violation of RSA 676-16. The ZBA does not consider it is authorized to entertain a request for variances on purported tract lot 109-11 without the consent and joinder of the nominal owner of lot 12, including the request for a variance from the frontage requirements of lot 12. It is recommended that any such request also include a proposed, this is the key issue, proposed conceptual subdivision plan reviewed by the planning board as a threshold matter. In other words, town council is saying, in order for us to entertain any of these variances, the applicant, multiple, because both the front and back lot, needs to go back to the planning board, and I'll explain why. So, I went and did an archaeological dig through the files, and it was not, I think I insulted, infuriated everybody in the town office over my 2 or 3 days that I went and did this.
Yes, you did.
So, and I extend my deepest apologies, but this is,
Can we just bring chairs up and I'll look at
you
this
sure
together?
may.
Okay.
And I'll even do one better. Let me give you this. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same. This little thing, which was clipped to the original application, which is this tiny little A-size print. This is, see,
This is that.
well, I shouldn't say that. This comes out of what's been taken a photograph of the Mylar down in Nashville. Okay? It is so bad, you don't even make out these people's signatures. So I think what happened is, there's a Mylar here in 1987, January 26, 1987, before the planning board. And there's a copy like this in the record as a physical. So they signed both. This is retained. This is a copy sticky. This is a photocopy, full size, and reprinted out in the town. This is in file drawer number 109. It just happens to be a catch-all. That's what I said down here, so I wrote that in. So here's the problem. This piece was bought from Bert Stevens in 1980. This was cut off from this piece of property over here.
Right, I mean,
Okay.
that,
Right.
right.
That's correct. Okay. Correct,
That's the plan that shows that.
Correct.
That piece. when it was
so
bought.
the only screwy thing is, but it's kind of fixed by events, is they didn't come to the land of Bigwood, which is on the north side of the stream. This stopped in the center, the original conveyance. So technically, the wording in the deed goes to the right thing, but that survey does not show it correctly, because you're short half a stream. That's just a small problem, but that's problem number one in 1980. Then comes along Mr. Weare in 1987, around the June timeframe. I can't tell when exactly the first time he got in front of the planning board. But his intent was to take and subdivide this property into 3 lots. This being where the original property building you put it, right? Okay. So this was approved January 26, 1987. What happened is, this 6.5 acres, if this said 5.4, we wouldn't be here tonight, probably, because you would have been prior to zoning. This piece is prior to zoning, and this piece is prior to zoning, because prior to zoning means anything before March of 88. Everybody was running into the town to make subdivisions prior to zoning. So as long as you got it in, a conceptual in to the planning board, even if it happened after that, you were grandfathered. So what happened was, somehow, not only did you do 3-lot subdivision, but you did a merger. Meaning that if this 6.5 acres said 5.4 and 1.3, whatever the 2 pieces are, you could explain that this is a mistake. But the fact that the underlying document of the subdivision says 6.5, at least in the head of the surveyor, he meant this to be merged.
It clearly was never meant to be.
I fully agree, and the reason I would say that is because I've asked many people, what nefarious means would benefit Mr. Weare for doing it this way? And the answer is none. This was a lot of record, and this is a lot of record. By virtue of doing it in this configuration, passing it, and then laying fallow for 30 years, this gives the
Right, when the property was conveyed,
Right.
it was conveyed by a deed that refers to 5.6 acres with an easement across this parcel.
we're not arguing that.
What's that?
We're not arguing that.
Okay.
Okay. But this is
I'm
not,
just saying that
this
as
is not
evidence.
6.5 acres.
Well, I
This
see what
and
it
this,
says. It says,
this and this. Okay?
correct.
Now, sometime probably before 93, I can't pin it down, somebody in the town kind of looked at this and said, this is kind of screwy, what's going on here? So this is actually a copy of the town's map that's in the file. Okay, this is a one-on-one sized copy. Somebody in the town tried to figure out how to reconcile the lots. And somebody wrote the language here, which is pretty neatly done. The underlying red is very tough to read, but it basically says the same thing. And it basically says, this was a mistake, and these were inappropriately combined. You could read the language. So first we try to figure out who the person that wrote that. They had to be inside the town, and they were trying to convey that to the mapper to get the lots correct. So that's the language in the red first. Somebody tried to clean it up to give it to the mapper. And his note was here too, so I don't know if that's exactly where it was, but it was when I had this copy. So the bottom line is, the reason this didn't bite anybody in the 98, 99, 30, 1993, whatever it was, because somebody made an attempt to correct something here. So that's why you got appropriately correct tax bills. Near as I could tell. I mean, you know as much as I do. So we tried to figure out who wrote this, to go back and talk to somebody. At first we thought, most guys don't write very well, so we figured it was a lady, possibly. And then combined the spelt wrong, so we said, well, could be a guy. So we don't know who it is. Okay.
I'm not commenting.
I'm not commenting, but the point is, we cannot identify who the person that was in the town office at the time to go ask the question. So what we're left with is two issues. Now, you brought up 1995. 1995, there was a site plan that attempted to show, and there was a survey underlying this. I haven't got a copy of the survey, but the town planning board accepted this as gospel. And the problem is, even if this is correct, in other words, this is this lot, this is this lot, a line where they drew with the property segments wasn't from the land of Bigwood, it's 22 feet back. So even if this was correct, this site plan is not representative of the property because somebody left 22 feet of setback on the table. So with all these problems, what Bill recommends is going back to the planning board with conceptual, and come in with a survey. Hopefully, you can do what you want, but this has got a slight problem in it. This has got a slight problem in it for where it bisects.
What's this like from?
Well, his map that you got shows it going to the center of the stream. The map shows center of the stream. The deed says land of Bigwood.
But it's all related to how this connects.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
I
want to
thought,
say.
I thought you pointed out, I'm sorry. I
If
thought you
somebody
pointed
took
out.
the original
Yeah.
subdivision
I-
and tried to add to this, there's opportunity to go to hell, just too many problems. So what Attorney Drescher, on behalf of the town, has recommended to go back to the planning board and with a conceptual design. That'll give you the opportunity to review this under the current zoning regulations.
Conceptual, just as far as where this line's gonna go.
No, the whole
No.
thing. I would, personally, you can do what you want. I think there's enough problems with this evidence of the survey that you ought to have somebody resurvey this whole area to whatever's you're comfortable with. Bring it back to the planning board saying, we'd like you to tell us, to the planning board, what variance is required to make this today appropriate. Now, you got three of them already. You got the frontage problem, you got the frontage and size problem, right? I think there's one more, and that is the problem. This lot is accessed with a 50-foot right-of-way. When you sold this property, Weare Brothers, their attorney, I guess, insisted on a 50-foot deeded right-of-way, which you have. This one has a right-of-way. But the problem is, the town of Weare only allows 2 properties to be accessed on a common driveway. You got a third one.
But this predates zoning.
You can get into a debate on that one. I'm not gonna say you're right or wrong. I'm just saying, if you wanna die on that hill, be my guest.
I don't know if I wanna die on any hill.
Right. I'm just trying to say, there is an issue. If you can convince the planning board you don't need that, fine. But the problem is, this deeded right-of-way was modified by, when did you sell that property to Weare Brothers, 2014, 15? You modified whatever that was to the deed that sold this to Weare Brothers, and you said 50 foot. So now you could argue whether that was additionally defining the original, or this sale actually defined it as 50 foot.
Let me know when you're done.
I think I'm almost done. The only thing I would say is that This only gets you to correcting the legacy of this lot and this lot, because this has been before the planning board, not once, not twice, but 3 times. 95, this is it. I have a 2000, this is 2001. No, this is 95. No, this is 2001. So it's been there in 95, 99, and 2001. I could not find 99 anyway. So it's been here. This is the 3rd revision of this site plan. So 3 times they had the wrong on the line.
That's for the Romar property, right?
This
Yes.
is correct,
Yes.
but this shows only the status of the 3rd one.
Right.
Now, so this was, what I've talked about today, this evening, only gets you to the point of getting this more correct, representing zoning correctly. It's this piece and this piece, because the 50-foot right-of-way comes through. That just gets you to the point of getting these so they're, I don't want to use the cogent, I mean, correct, I don't know what the proper terms are. Because technically speaking, when Mr. Bovier cut this deed, whether you agree or not, you effectively did it to a unsubdivided lot line.
Let's say he did.
Huh?
Let's say he did.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't want to get the argument, I'm saying,
No, but I'm saying, let's
So-
say he did.
you ought to figure out where these lots really are, these lines are, and the pins, because this lot isn't identified on this drawing. This is not identified.
It's being taxed as a separate lot by the town.
And I would say, okay, but where's your deed showing that's a separate deed?
I mean, we have the deed. that
You-
shows
No, you have no
12.6 acres.
subdivision. You have a deed,
You
but
said
there's no
there's a deed.
underlying subdivision.
Because it's an inadvertent error on the plan.
Correct. So what I'm trying to say is, what Bill's language basically tried to say is, get it the way you think you want it, as long as you don't upset your neighbors. Go back to the planning board as a conceptual, and they will tell you the challenge, they should tell you the challenges you need to come back to this board for the various variances. You got 3 out
But
of
you're the zoning board.
Yeah, but, we're not arguing that, but
So you should be telling us what we
no,
need for
not
variances.
true.
Why?
You, planning board tells you when you're deficient to zoning. You think it's dispatched to us to review and accept the fact that you want these variances. The other ones, we don't tell you how to remedy this. We're telling you that there's not enough here for us to consider going forward. Okay? So, I'm not looking for an argument, I'm just trying to give you the information. So now I have a motion to make.
Isn't there an opportunity for discussion?
Sure, we're having it right now.
Not an argument.
And I understand.
I mean, that's a lot to dump on us tonight.
I don't disagree.
And it seems it's a fairly detailed and convoluted process to fix something that's pretty simple.
Well, I would ask you to produce a subdivision.
You can't, that's the error. That is the error.
There is no other subdivision. The error was, the original draftsman appears to have, surveyor, appears to have made a mistaken judgment. 1, 2, 3, he divided this property correctly. Unfortunately, this got combined it up to here.
There is a subdivision plan that shows this as a separate lot. Yes or no?
The answer is yes, but it's not complete,
Why is it not complete?
because it only
It's
goes.
recorded at the registry.
You can be recorded all day at the registry, but if you haven't got the, could I see your plat? This is the nitpick. No, right here.
No, but it's this plan I'm talking about,
Oh.
right? This is recorded at the registry. This shows lot 1,
Sure.
1.3 acres.
If you read the deed, it says the land of Bigwood, which is on this side of the river, the stream, okay? This shows it being the center. You got a little problem here from the original survey. It's a small issue. It was picked up in detail, so we went over.
Okay, but there's lots of little details with lots of properties in New Hampshire.
Yeah, but I'm suggesting, if you look at this, it may be interesting and not relevant, because this combined this with this.
Well, I get it, that, the 1.3 plus 5 point, whatever, equals a 6.5. I mean, I get that, that's the mistake. The deed says 5.6 plus a right-of-way over that way. The survey doesn't match it, or the subdivision plan doesn't match it. That's the problem that we're trying to fix by going through all this.
Well, I can tell you, if you wish to call up and talk with Bill Drescher, you're welcome to. I'm prepared to have a motion here pretty quick, which implements Bill's guidance to us.
I have no problem going back to the planning board and doing what's best, okay? But I'm trying to understand the whole process, because it doesn't seem right to me, the planning, after you've done all of this work with Bill Drescher, that the planning board is somehow then gonna tell me what I need for variances.
Well, every time you bring a subdivision in, planning board reviews it, and before they put their stamp on it, they're gonna make sure it's compliant with the zoning. That's the step you're going for. We don't,
But I'd be
See-
going in for something corrective, not a new subdivision. We're not subdividing anything.
you can phrase it any way you want.
Okay.
Bill's guidance to us as a board is not to act on this because there's not an underlying subdivision. If you wanna challenge that assumption of his, you're welcome to. I'm just trying to,
We expected to be going back to the planning board.
Pardon?
We expected to be going back to the planning board, whether it was before this board acted or after the board acted. We knew we needed to go back to the planning board to straighten that out. I mean, as part of what we've learned in trying to develop this lot, we do have a hiccup that we need to fix, and we want to fix it.
But Bill's asking us not to consider the case, what I read to you, until that's fixed, because he doesn't see the underlying documents are not supportive of your request for these variances.
So let's say I go to the planning board with a conceptual plan, and they say we can't approve it because you need 4 variances.
Before you go there, I would ask you to try chat with Mr. Drescher. He's the one directing us to make these changes.
If you don't comply with zoning, you need 4 variances. Go to the ZBA.
Well,
Here I am.
okay, let me ask you. Let me say I knew nothing about this. Where's your underlying subdivision?
I mean, what we're gonna do is we'll do it just in accordance with the deed and the town tax map. I mean, I think that would be the easiest thing to do.
Well, then I would take that down to Bill if you would come in with that, Drescher. And he would say, I recommend you don't do this.
Okay.
So,
I'm not gonna force the board to doing something that
I
the
understand.
council has advised against. I just said it puts me in an awkward position of getting ping-ponged between,
well, you got one pond, you gotta go for a ping now, right?
well, you go to the planning board, what do I need? You can't approve this, you need variances, go back to the board. I mean, that's,
That's why the conditional is the term we're using.
okay.
Because anybody can waltz into the planning board with anything, and they look at it and say, this is goofy, go get your variance before we approve it. You gotta get your variances, they won't approve it.
Right.
So, I'm not suggesting you should have accurate knowledge of any of this stuff, because until I started digging into it and made 2 passes down the bill, I wasn't really understanding what was going on here. And so,
And I'm pinch hitting and I'm getting up to speed
I know you
myself,
can,
so.
but
we
you're not that far behind, because Mr. Arnold never even got to open his mouth to speak up. You know, he basically brought it here and I said, stop, I don't understand this. I wasn't trying to be difficult. If I don't understand what's going on, the first thing I found is this is slightly different. But it got corrected because if you went to the land of Bovary, which you did, when you drew this thing, big one. And I don't know how they drew this line. I mean, if I was picking another line, it wouldn't look like that. It doesn't even attempt to bifurcate where this lot was originally different, you know?
But is Drescher's advice, I need a subdivision plan, or does he think I just need to clarify where the line is?
Trying to tell you as clear as I can. You go get a subdivision conceptual. You bring something in that they can operate as conceptual on. Then the typical typical procedure for the planning board, if you need a variance, is to send you to us after they have told them what they need to get an approval. So this is like, I mean, if we all knew this before we started, you were here too early. But nobody had any idea what it looked like from the beginning. When I get the first thing, until I started digging into it, I said, I don't understand this. So,
We'll think about that. We know we need to do something to establish an agreed upon location here.
well, I'm not the lawyer, but state of New Hampshire, you ain't supposed to be writing deeds for land that doesn't match a subdivision.
Right, I mean, we've said a mistake was made.
I understand.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
not saying
not
it-
disputing.
nothing's nefarious, because there was no advantage for Mr. Weare to have done this nefariously.
Right.
Because he could have, everything could have been prior to zoning, which so there was no rules.
We're here to try to fix the mistake.
And we're trying to help you, rather than deny you with no understanding. I've asked the attorney to please make it so that I can tell these people what's gonna happen next. And the next one is, you can decide if you wanna trust the existing survey or not. Enough errors in this thing, you can do what you want. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, I don't know any better. I mean, I'm not gonna go out there and admit to that.
Well, what if we do something that's inconsistent with that site plan?
Well, everything you do will be consistent with that site plan,
Correct.
because there is nothing. So then the question becomes, you gotta take that up next. I'm not here to offer any remedy on that. I'm just saying, step one is to figure out what variances you really need. See, we're a court, you know very well. This is a land use court. We don't have conversations. We have evidence presented, and then we render decisions. Period. Most, since we made a huge investment at the time, I asked Bill to do this, and I said that I would take them on a journey of what we found,
I think that's fair enough, but how can I get a copy of that memo?
to be in the minutes. She's got a copy, it's gonna be in the minutes, when we produce the minutes. I wanna make sure we don't have revisions running around. I give it to her, she types it in, then we approve them.
Do they get sent to me or just posted on the website?
I can send them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Email address the same as John's.
Yeah, even if you send it to John, it'll be fine.
Okay.
so,
Well, I appreciate the time everybody has taken to look into this.
well, you know, if there was a nefarious reason this would have benefited anybody. But frankly, if this was approved on 1/27/87, that was a year and 2 months before zoning, because it never made it in 87. You had to make it by, if you brought something in new before March of 87, after first attempt at zoning. The zoning failed in 87 March at town meeting. Had to go to the ADS. You actually had another year on top of that period. Nobody thought this was the problem. That's why nothing got attended. There wasn't much in the town of Weare before zoning. But I'm not here to argue that one way or the other. So, if you want a copy of this map, I'm sure you can go over, see Wendy, and pay $5, have it running on the machine, and out pops like this. You can actually read the signatures. The one that is on the website, one off the website, which is the, you can't read them. You literally can't read the signature. So this is a better copy if you want to go for representation, unless you want to go down and pull the Mylar out.
Is that recorded at the registry?
I'll say it again.
This is just in the town files, I get that with the notes.
But it's signed. This is
Right.
an original sign.
Right,
This was signed, it may not be exactly the same, it's probably signed the same night. This, the chairman and the secretary of the planning board signed these. And I think the way it was in the old days, a Mylar got signed, sent off to Nashua. This was retained for the copies, because nobody could make a copy in Weare, New Hampshire back then. So this is retained as a signed copy. I believe what I got here is the town's version of the signed copy.
Right.
I don't read better. This is 20295, as down the registry. I believe,
20259.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I-
this is that without those notes on it.
Oh, that's good. Where'd you get that?
We blew that up.
Oh, you blew it up from the registry.
Registry of Deeds.
Can you read those? No.
Please.
The answer is no.
Please.
Can you read these? Maybe.
Maybe.
So the point
That
is, this is
doesn't
at a registry.
Right.
I believe they made a Mylar and a series of paper ones, and they signed them all the same night. That's the way they used to do it.
Okay.
Ready for my motion?
Can't wait.
You take your positions, please. Here's a motion I'll read, and I like a second after this. Starts out by saying, motion to stay further action on variance applications for both Weare and Roma, that's 11 and 12, until applicant has proceeded to a conceptual hearing before the planning board to determine their recommendations on the configuration of the contemplated subdivision plan that would establish the properties identified on the Roma site plan as properly designated lots of record. That's it. So basically, the important thing is, we're not asking you to continue this, we're staying this. In other words, we'll freeze this, you go over there. I suspect you'll be coming back with at least one more variance for the number of lots on a given driveway. 2 is the maximum without the need of variance.
But so we'll have to re-notify all the abutters when we come back.
That's above my pay grade. Chip,
Will it be
you
the
can
same
figure out,
case?
we never
It
stated.
will, it will depend on whether it's a new application.
Well, I suspect,
If it was a continuation, you would not have to
This is a good
re-notify the abutters.
it's almost like pulling the radio cap on an old car and back the old car and put a new car and then you can tighten down the radio cap. Basically, you have to come in with a new subdivision plan, conceptual, and you're gonna have to come in with new variances, so technically, we're giving you a stay, but you're effectively gonna come in with new applications. I don't know how we handle that. That's not my.
Is it like a stay of execution?
The governor is busy. I don't know.
Stay of approval.
I'll pardon you.
Execution of approval.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. So, in discussion from the board? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Being none, 5-0. So, Bill got everything I've got, and more. And, I mean, do you have any concerns of whether you're getting the right, whether Bill understood this properly or not? But this is his recommendation, so, I know Attorney Arnold had several conversations, and so what we're basically sending you back for is only to get the subdivision corrected. Then you still gotta figure out what you need to get a building.
Got it.
I hope we've been helpful. We try to be. It doesn't give you the desired result, but I think you have a path forward, at least another step in the journey.
Appreciate that.
You don't know if it's 1,000 steps or 12,000 steps. This is according to what our town council. We're gonna move on.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Alrighty, we have an extension?
And you've got a couple extra came in after the
Oh,
thing was posted.
give me the ones you
So-
think
so-
we're gonna do.
So if you looked in your package that I mailed you,
We're missing two,
no,
I mean, other package?
all three of them were
They're all
in
in the
there.
package, they're just not on the itinerary, right?
I'll take your word.
They're just not on the agenda. They were in your package.
So Bob Bailey.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do this first. Cindy Rooney. You like that one? I think it's one of the oldest ones.
Pondview.
Motion to approve the extension of variance case number 2707.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 500. Let's get the next one, it's easy. Motion to extend case number 2504,
I'll second that.
okay? And discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 500. What case are we doing on this one? Oh, this case on 0402.
Is that- That's the one you just did.
No,
No.
We just
This?
did Bailey.
I did this. I did two of them.
He's done Rooney and Bailey. Now he has to do Langdon.
I got 4002. There's a lot of cases in 02. Okay, motion to extend variance 4002.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 50, 50, please. Passed. Okay. We got minutes? Oh, what are we gonna do with
I
the-
sent them to you electronically because they were not done until late. She had a problem getting them from someone who shall remain anonymous. So if you did not read your if you did not read your email, you have not seen them
When was it sent out?
last week.
That's next week's problem.
Can I ask a question? So when I have to get that deadline under, what is it, 72 hours? To get the minutes to whoever I'm getting them to, right?
Yeah.
So I did that, right?
144.
144 hours?
6 days, 24 hours. Is
Yeah,
when you
because
need,
the ones, the
So
only,
I'm on Wednesday night, I'm like mad.
Yeah.
I just got the video
you
Tuesday,
did
Friday,
the,
or that morning.
the planning board was fine, and we discovered that, evidently you had talked to Naomi about some complications with getting this one done, and Naomi supposedly called you and got them. That's what I was told. But anyway, we got them, and they were sent out electronically. Jack just didn't read them.
nor anybody else.
I read it.
I'll defer.
I can't spell, so I'm not a good editor.
Well, what about the previous ones? That was sent directly
You
by
did
Naomi.
sent direct, yeah, to you.
Problem is, does anybody read those either? Previous ones that never got sent physically, they were sent electronically, so we got two sets.
I
We'll do
will,
that next time.
I will make sure that you get them printed in large, bold type.
You don't need large, my eyesight's perfect. I just I don't live in the internet.
You don't live in here.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I know.
My
Okay.
number of remaining meetings.
Oh, for you? Until your truck blows up or car.
I'll walk.
You want. Okay, any other business? Being none, motion to adjourn,
Move to adjourn.
second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.